Hello. Alright. Viewer beware. You're really scared. Goosebumps was the movie that came out in 2015 based on the Goosebumps books. About the time I got to these, I almost forgot. I was like, oh, I got to do the Goosebumps shit. Goosebumps, of course, was a big part of my childhood, which is why I went to see this in 2015. I have some of the Goosebumps books here. I'll go through them really quickly. I have Stay Out of the Basement, Monster Blood, a favorite. Well, yes, Stay Out of the Basement. I'll tell you what, Stay Out of the Basement is a good one. Monster Blood's one of my favorites. Say Cheese and Die, another favorite. Let's Get Invisible, that's a good one. Night of the Living Dummy. Not too familiar on this one. Welcome to Camp Nightmare, another good one. You Can't Scare Me. You Can't Scare Me. Horror at Camp Jelly Jam. And Ghost Camp. I don't know if I have any more because I can't find any more. What is that? Okay, Pennywise fell down. The reason I said I'm not sure about this one is because I usually go by like the Night of the Living Dummy 2 is the one they have on TV, so that's the one I usually go by. I don't remember the original one, so that's why. And I also have this here. Goosebumps One Day at Horrorland, the board game. A friend gave me. So yes, before I get into the actual review, I will tell you Pennywise's balloon. Tell you about this. Why do I have the Blu-ray 3D version? Well, when I went to Walmart to pick this up back in, I think it was 2016 by the time it came out. I looked and couldn't find the regular Blu-ray of this. So, and at the time, 4K was not a thing, I don't think. At least it wasn't a full thing. So I grabbed the Blu-ray version, or the 3D version, I should say. It's a little more expensive, and I bought this version. And then on the way out, after I'd already paid for it, I saw the regular version in a display that I did not see earlier. It's like a yawning in these videos. You know, the weird thing is now, well, every time I get ready to do a review, just before I'm getting ready to push record, I yawn. I don't know why. It just happens. But yeah, I like this lenticular cover. I have the second one too. I'll be doing that review next, but it doesn't have a 3D. But then you open it, and it's got the regular Blu-ray there with Slappy and the gnome. Hello, Papa. You open it. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Okay. Open it, and then you got 3D Blu-ray there, and the DVD is just plain bones, bare bones. So, Goosebumps tells the story of Zach, who has moved to Madison, Ohio, Madison, Delaware, with his mother, following the death of his father, and she's a new vice principal, and while there, he meets a strange girl named Hannah, who lives next door, and he gets warned by her father, Mr. Shivers, to stay away. He also meets a fellow schoolmate named Champ. No, that is not a nickname. We find out later his real name is Champion. Wow, no pressure from those parents, huh? Hate to have that name. But one night, during some misunderstandings, the kid breaks into the house next door, finds Goosebumps manuscripts, and opens them. Opens one on purpose, both on accident actually. One releases the Bottle of Snowman at Pasadena, you can see there. The other releasing Slappy the Dummy. And it makes sense that Slappy would be the villain of the film. I remember seeing that, and Slappy, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Um, he is one of the more iconic characters of Goosebumps. So yeah, he makes a lot of sense that he's the villain. So like I said, Zach moves to this new town, and the beginning of this movie is all just acquainting himself with the town. He goes to school, he meets Champion, and then he and Hannah sneak out and they go to this amusement park, this abandoned amusement park, which will of course be used in the climax. Because of course it is, introduce something at the beginning of the movie to not use it again later, so, And when he goes to take her home, they bump into her dad, Mr. Shivers, played by Jack Black, who, spoiler alert, is R.L. Stine. Now, I remember when it was announced that Jack Black was going to play R.L. Stine, I was like, Jack Black? I don't know. And then I saw the trailer. And let me tell you, I saw the trailer and I was like, okay, this could work. So there's an argument. Zach hears the disturbance. He calls the police. The police get there. Of course, R.L. Stine has covered up whatever it was. They never actually say what had happened. They never actually tell us what happened, why she screamed, what was going on. It's just mowed over, and then we move on to other stuff. Zach pretends to be the cops and calls away Stein so he can go and check on Hannah, where he and Champ, because he calls Champ for help, I guess, and they find the Goosebumps manuscripts. Now, here's the thing. Earlier when the cops were there, you saw R.L. Stine was worried they would find these manuscripts. He kept looking at something. Also, we find that it's a very bad thing to open the manuscripts. So why would you have the key that opens said locked manuscripts in a little display on your desk? In a little thing like the Beauty and the Beast rose, that little thing like that, just sitting in there. And why? Why would you have the key in the same room with the books that unleash the horrible monsters that could destroy us all? I'm just saying. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense, but kids' movies, so yeah. And you're gonna find comparisons to Jumanji with this film, certainly, yes. Kids mess with something, whole bunch of creatures come out, and then at the end they're sucked back into a thing. It's like Jumanji. And if you don't believe it's like Jumanji, they've even paired this movie with Jumanji in double feature pack DVD sets. So, obviously they see something, right? But yes. And they accidentally released The Abominable Snowman of Pasadena, which is a book I read once. I don't remember anything of it. I remember the one with the alien eggs from Mars more than I do that. But, yeah, and they go after him, but R.L. Stine shows up, and he puts it back in the book, locks it, and then they go back to the house, and they realize that Slappy had been released, because the book fell and the lock broke. So now Slappy is free to cause havoc, and he releases a bunch of other monsters, including the lawn gnomes from the, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes book. Other monsters include the giant praying mantis from the Shocker on Shock Street. He mentions the haunted mask, but I don't see it anywhere. There's these aliens from some book I don't know. The Werewolf Fever Swamp is featured prominently during a scene where they're running through the supermarket. That's a fun little scene. There's a car. I don't know what car that could be, because I haven't read all the later books. I read the ones that I grew up with, and then there's a bunch of. I read a couple of Goosebumps 2000s, and then there's there's a bunch of stories in a book thing, stories to give you Goosebumps or something. I haven't read those. So there's a poodle that floats around and tries to kill the ant. I don't know. The Gravedigger, the Graveyard Ghouls from Attack of the Graveyard Ghouls. That's a Goosebumps 2000 book I actually own. Slappy is there, of course. I'm trying to remember. The Invisible Boy, which in the book wasn't actually evil, at least from what I remember. At least the TV version, he wasn't evil, right? Because the twist in the TV version was that he was the only human left, and everyone else were actually aliens. I guess, if I remember correctly. My best friend's invisible. That's the book he's from, right? I don't know, but they could have done more. Like, there's no monster blood. That'd been cool. You know, the little vampire girl from Vampire Breath. Even not at the TV show. Who cares? But yeah, and eventually they realize they have to head to the school because that's where his typewriter is. They have to write one big story because Slappy's burned all the books. They have to write one story to contain all of the creatures, of the monsters. And so they have to go to the school because that's where his typewriter was. If nobody knows who he is, why is his typewriter at the school? That's the one thing that, from this movie, besides what was the argument about, that I just don't get. Like, what, did he put it there to keep it safe, or why is it there other than he just put it there? And then it's back there at the end, so I don't know, but so Hannah, Champ, and Zach try to fend off the creatures while R.L. Stine is writing his book. But then Slappy shows up and smashes his fingers. So he can't write the book, so he has to have Zach do it. And he has to do it on his typewriter because as a nod to the blob that ate everyone, which is also in the movie, towards the end here, the typewriter, everything the typewriter writes is becomes real. And yes, Are You Afraid of the Dark did rip that off with the Dream Machine, or it may have happened first, depending on when the episode aired. But it was about a bunch of dreams that come true or something. But so it's not exactly true, but I don't know, it's close. But yeah, so eventually they finished the book. They put it in a little thing, and so this is one thing I'm confused about. So we find out that Hannah isn't real. She's something that R.L. Stine wrote about, and she's from a story, I guess. But here's the thing. So we find out when they open up this book to swallow the monsters in, she will go in there too. There were two different writers. Why didn't neither of them think to write all of the monsters except for Hannah go in the book? And why would the book swallow her up when she's not any of the Goosebumps monsters? It just doesn't make sense to me. Even with the ending of this, where she gets swallowed up, and then at the end he just writes another book and she's out again. So what was the point of that? You know, I don't understand that, but I don't know. It's confusing. This, like he said, a beginning, middle, and the twist, as he says. And the twist here is that she's still alive. Also, the Invisible Boy survived. So if because they make it look like he's holding on to her, and it makes it appear as if the book won't close until he lets go of her, because all of them have to go in, right? And as soon as he lets go and she goes in, it closes. So that's what it appears like. But if the Invisible Boy survived, then obviously he didn't need to let go of her. But then they'd have the thing anyway. There's also a nod where it's Jack Black or R.L. Stine played by Jack Black, becomes the new teacher, and I think he's like a writing teacher. He's a substitute teacher, and he's dating the aunt now, I guess. And he walks out, and you see the real R.L. Stein walks by him, and his name is Mr. Black. So Jack Black's playing R.L. Stein. R.L. Stein's playing Mr. Black. And he's the drama teacher. And if you remember, if you recalled correctly, when he used to introduce some of the Goosebumps episode, man can't act. So that's hilarious to me, that he's the drama teacher, and he can't act worth a lick. His only line here is, Mr. Stein, Mr. Black. I like that. I actually saw this in the theater with Eric, and we both looked at each other and went, R.L. Stein, Jack Black. Yeah, this is a fun movie. The CGI is a little iffy, mostly with the werewolf of Fever Swamp. I think the Abominable Snowman looks pretty good, but it's still, CGI. And I know people are going to compare it to the practical effects used in the TV episode of Werewolf of Fever Swamp, which are fantastic. They had a lot of good practical effects in that series. But of course, they're going to be CGI nowadays. But I think the acting is pretty good. Dylan Minnette, I like him. He's in this. He was in Don't Breathe, and he was in The Open House, which, despite the fact that I don't like that movie, I thought he was good in it. But yeah, all around, pretty good movie. Jack Black isn't particularly like R.L. Stein. Like, he has this weird British-like accent. Stay away from my house. But he's pretty good. I like Champ. I like Champ, and he gets the girl in the end too. He gets this other girl to keep calling him Chump, but later, like, he saves her life and she kisses him. He's like, I was asking for another hug, but okay, I was gonna ask for another hug, but okay, I guess that'll work. But yeah, the fact that his parents named him Champion always makes me laugh. Like, who does that? So yes, when it comes to Goosebumps, I have to say, this is pretty good. They did make a sequel, and we'll talk about that next. Because I have some things I need to talk about with this movie. Yes. So, what are your thoughts on Goosebumps? Let me know in the comments below. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.